Y'all, I've watched a couple of movies that I thought were pretty interesting and are worth talking about, and so I'm going to review them here in two separate videos. The first movie that I'm going to cover in this video is a movie called Flashback. Now, it's kind of a boring kind of title, kind of a generic sounding title, but this is an interesting movie uh, in a lot of ways. Now, it's probably not for everyone. It's a bit convoluted. It's kind of like it's kind of a Christopher Nolan-esque movie. The more I think about it, in some ways, um, the absence of linearity um, and I don't know the way in which it's kind of a puzzle that you put together as you go. If you figure out what's going on uh, as the movie progresses. And I think by the time it's over, you still don't quite necessarily understand everything. But I would say that you understand more than you do at the end of some Christopher Nolan movies. And the dialogue is all audible, so it's also got that going for it. This is a movie about a drug, um, but it might or might not be a pro-drug movie. It might be an anti-drug movie, and it might be a pro-drug movie. At least it might be in favor of this drug that doesn't actually exist, but that is made up in the movie. Um, there's a drug called mercury, and the effects that this drug has on a person are multifarious. But supposedly, if you take it, what we learn as we watch the movie is that supposedly, if you take this drug and focus on it in the right way, focus on elevated things, not just like tripping and stuff, but focus on more existential matters. That the drug will actually free your mind, and there's even this kind of philosophy behind the usage of the drug by some of its users, which is that uh, we are trapped in a linear time uh, paradigm, if you will, by some nefarious creature, some nefarious like an archon, or God, what do the Scientologists call it? The things that attach themselves to you, Thetan. So some archon or some Thetan. I mean, they don't say that, but they say that our minds are actually imprisoned right now because we can only see go through the life that we're living um, in uh, this timeline. We can only experience the timeline that we're in, and we can only experience it linearly. That is to say, from start to finish. um, whereas what we're really meant to be able to do is uh, to transcend linear time, but not just so it's kind of like um, shoot that Kurt Vonnegut novel about time tripping, Slaughterhouse-Five. Um, the drug enables you to jump to different places on your timeline, but not only that, it also enables you to see other timelines and to live, to experience your life in other timelines, which is to say, I guess this is quantum physics maybe, although I'm a dummy about something like that. But I do understand the notion that of alternate timelines, and that it's possible that there are parallel worlds where we make different decisions, and that takes us down a different life path than the decisions that we make in this timeline. So this drug, mercury, again, if you take it the right way, um, it can enable you to live the way you're actually supposed to live before this nefarious creature imprisoned your mind in this linear uh, um, time frame. That might be true, or maybe it's just a destructive drug that makes you think these kinds of things are actually are going on. Uh, but it's all just an illusion. It's all just illusory, brought on by the psychedelic experience of being under the influence of this drug. Um, but we follow the main character at two separate times in his life. We meet him first when he's a 31-year-old, and he's married, but he feels kind of trapped in a dead end corporate job, and uh, you know his mother is in the hospital dying. Um, so there's a lot of sad things happening. Now his wife seems really nice. She seems to love him. Um, Nevertheless, he can't stop thinking about this girl that he met in high school, who was the one who introduced him to the potentials of this drug. Now uh, our hero, the main character, became friends with this group of people who were sort of on the fringes of the high school scene. These sort of wastoids, um, that who these druggy types. But what they've the drug that they've gotten into is this mercury drug, and so for a couple of the other guys that he knows that are in this group, they just take mercury because they like they like the rush of the high that it gives them, but they're not really intellectual. They're not really approaching it the same way that this girl does. This girl from high school that he knew, she took the drug, in order for the mind expanding possibilities that it offers. So, um, so the movie flashes back and forth between the character being 31 and the character being 18 and still in high school, and uh, and it gets to be that there's confusion. And there's one scene that's really very kind of spooky, or it kind of uh, it kind of gives you chills a little bit, or gave me chills. Like, we had our hero, the main character, is talking to one of his friends. He's tracked them down again 13 years later, and he's just sitting with this friend, catching up with him about what he's been up to these last 13 years. And the friend suddenly says something like, "Have you studied for the final?" And our guy, our hero, says, "What? What are you talking about? Like, have you studied for the final?" And he's sitting there, 31-year-old, asking, "Have you studied?" Asking this question like they're in high school. Um, and then suddenly they are. Suddenly we switch to another scene, where these two guys are sitting together, and he's asking about the final, which is actually tomorrow because they're actually high school seniors. Um, so, uh, so uh, I don't really know how to explain what happens over the course of the movie. I just found it very intriguing. I think it's a well-made movie. Um, it's probably the best. There are a lot of movies and a lot of stories about uh, uh, fictitious drugs that do this or that for you, and I've long found this notion of drugs that supposedly have this kind of effect on a person, but that may or may not be be harmful. Um, but possibly maybe they're wonderful. Maybe that they have a wonderful effect, and taking them is actually the best thing for you. It actually frees you from the state that you're in, which is a state that you should not be in. That you're supposed to be free. Um, so I would say that out of all of the movies about fictitious drugs, this sort of subgenre of like I guess kind of science fiction uh, movies that are of that type. This is one of the more interesting ones. Um, Eventually the guy decides uh, to follow the girl uh, that he was with, and or that he made friends with, and who served as a kind of mentor to him, and in some timelines it's implied that they became lovers and got married, and so forth. Um, so we see him eventually, you know, pursuing those timelines and seeing where he winds up. And in some of them, he's an artist, and some of them they're exploring in the desert. They're doing all these crazy kinds of things that he's feeling he's missing out on in this timeline that he's chosen. But in the end, he chooses to go back and be, which I was grateful for, simply because. And I'm sorry, that's I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't think um, this isn't really a movie where knowing the ending is will ruin your viewing experience. It's uh, um, there's no crazy twist or anything. I mean, the whole thing is kind of crazy, but there's no like whoa, everything is different from from what you expect it to be. There's no whoa. You mean Bruce Willis was dead the whole time? It's not like that at all. But I was glad that he eventually went back to the wife that he had when we first met him, because she seemed nice and very loving. Oh, and there's also stuff about the mother. He eventually finds out, he's sitting with his mother while she's just suffered some massive attack, as a heart attack or something like that, or a stroke, something that's just left her um, uh, just unaware of anything around her, not with any memory of her own son, but then we see that she maybe had some knowledge about this possibility that maybe all along, you know, she was somebody who, even from the time when he was tiny, um, was trying to steer him in this mind expanding direction. Maybe not with the help of a drug, but 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 like there's some suggestion that she had knowledge of this possibility. Um, but he goes back to his own dimension, and after sort of exploring and seeing all these other possibilities, and he makes peace with it and leaves leaves his old flame behind and goes back to his present wife. Um, and so it's just it's a quite interesting movie, and I recommend it. So if you've seen it, tell me what you